So I'd just like to introduce the Leadership Awards by giving you some of the history. The idea of SIP awarding leadership awards was first discussed by the board in about 2010. At that time, while Dr. John Banman was Director of Training for SIP, he had been training leaders in many countries in the promotion, application, and development of the Satir Model, Satir Transformational Systemic Therapy. Many of these people were closely affiliated or members of SIP. To acknowledge the top leaders for their contribution, SIP established a leadership award system to honor these people. So initially, there were 14 people acknowledged by this process. Later, SIP developed the criteria for leadership awards, and these were passed, and they are the criteria we have used this year to make a number of awards. The criteria for being honored are to practice congruently the basic tenets of the Satir Model, both personally and professionally, to have Satir Transformational Systemic Therapy as their primary therapeutic modality, and to be recognized in their home country or abroad as a major leader in the contributor to the Satir Model. So they've made a significant contribution in a leadership role in some or all of the following: training professionals in using Satir Transformational Systemic Therapy, organizational roles, promoting Satir Transformational Systemic Therapy, or making other contributions like writing, resource development, or mentoring trainers. So the following have been selected by the SIP board as Leadership Awardees for 2023. It's my great pleasure to introduce the first of these awardees, Anne Morrison. Anne has a BA, MSW, and RSW, and is an experienced Satir model therapist, supervisor, and trainer whose career spans 55 years, including work within a wide variety of mental health and community agencies. Anne earned her Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and Psychology, Pomona College, California in 1965, and her Master's in Social Work at the University of Washington in 1967, where she was introduced to Virginia Satir's work. Anne built on that knowledge through her next 30 years plus of practice and discovered the Satir Institute of the Pacific in the early 1990s. Anne became a seasoned institute trainer by conducting numerous Level 1 and Level 2 trainings throughout BC and New Zealand. In 2019, she co-facilitated the intensive Level 2 residential training program. She also taught Level 1 as a sessional instructor for the BSW program for the First Nations Nicola Valley Institute of Technology. For 25 years, Anne designed and conducted over 45 personal and professional transformational growth Satir programs, such as Grief and Transformation, sexual abuse recovery, revitalizing workplaces, and her recent Freedom for Forgiveness program, which she co-facilitated for Singapore. Anne remains passionate about supporting SIP members. During her tenure as the SIP Board Membership Director, Anne initiated the Todd Clark Unsung Hero Awards, launched the Fireside Chats, and established the Vancouver Island Satir Network. As a training directorate member, Anne recently brought forth a new One Day Wonder program delivery option. Anne maintains a thriving part-time Satir therapy and supervision practice with occasional co-trainings that celebrate life spirit. Congratulations, Anne, and we look forward to your contributions in the future. Thank you. Our next awardee is Jennifer Nagel, MA and RCC. Jennifer is a registered clinical counselor, best-selling author, and international trainer. She is passionate about helping people reconnect with their internal strengths and resources to bring about deep and lasting change in their lives. Extensively trained in the Satir Model, she has worked with a diversity of people and groups, including therapists, educators, school programs, community groups, at-risk adolescents, therapeutic programs, non-profit organizations, and corporate groups. She obtained her Bachelor of Arts Honours degree in psychology from Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario, and her Master of Arts degree in counselling psychology from the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. She has presented many workshops and training programs throughout the world. Jennifer is a member of the British Columbia Association for Clinical Counsellors, the International Family Therapy Association, the Virginia Satir Global Network, and the Satir Institute of the Pacific. She is the Director of Training Development for the Satir Institute of the Pacific and a Senior Faculty Member for the Banman Satir China Management Center. Jennifer also works with individuals, couples, families, and youth in private practice, and she provides clinical supervision to other therapists. She is the best-selling author of Magic in the Muck, Finding Grace in Chaos. She is also a contributing author in Women of Worth, Moms in Business, 15 Success Stories with Soul, and Pandemic, Stories of Purpose, Passion, and Power through this extraordinary era. Currently a contributing author to an upcoming book on the Satir Model and body energy, co-host of monthly SIP community Zoom meetings, and continuing to develop programs for both online, hybrid, and in-person, personal, and professional development. It is an absolute honor and privilege to continue this work in the world. Congratulations, Jennifer, and thank you for all you do for SIP and in many other places around the world.
It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Prabhat. He's a psychiatrist trained in Thailand. In addition, he has a master's degree in public health from Australia. Dr. Prabhat met and learned from John Banman, in the year 2000, when John first came to Thailand. He was also trained by Kathleen a few years later. As a public health professional, Dr. Prabhat integrated Satir Health into his mental health promotion work. He applied for funding from the Thai Health Profession Foundation and produced a series of parenting programs and youth development programs that were endorsed by the Minister of Education and is now used in 2,000 secondary schools. As a clinician, Dr. Prabhat has been influenced as much by Satir Model. He has been applying the Satir Model in his clinical work for more than 20 years. Although he was later trained in another modality, such as brain spotting, he considers Satir Model as the core of his professional identity. As a human being, Dr. Prabhat lives his life based on Satir teachings, but he also bridges the Satir model to his own spiritual practice. Dr. Prabhat has been the president of the Thai Satir Association since 2020. He focuses work on developing sustainable mechanism for the Satir model in Thailand, and is expanding Satir training to more diverse groups such as university students, medical personnel, and the public. The association has now organized regular annual conferences open to broader audiences. Dr. Prabhat has a YouTube channel and gives regular live talks on mental health and well-being, with a current subscription of 120,000 listeners. I met him around the year 2000, and at that time he was the executive director of mental health. And he was responsible to get the psychiatrists in Thailand to come to the Satir work, because he had the money to pay for their stay in the main city so that they can learn from it. He has made a tremendous contribution to the psychiatrists using the Satir model over the last 22 years. I'm so happy to see him being recognized as a Leadership Award winner from the Satir Institute of the Pacific. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Paravachan. We call her Anne because that's her last two letters of her name. So she writes this, and I'd like to read it to you. I first met up with the Satir model in 1999 with the beginning of John Bandman's Satir workshop in Thailand. It was a great opportunity to join his training. After several training experiences with John and Kathleen, my life changed enormously. Working as a child psychiatrist in the university hospital, my role was both in treating and teaching. I introduced the Satir model to my clients as therapy for children and family, helping them in parenting, as well as to grow individually. I have offered numerous self-development workshops and training programs for paramedics, for medical students, for residents in child psychiatry, and instructors at the university. Many lives changed in a meaningful way as a result. As one of the accredited trainers of the Satir Association for Human Development and Psychotherapy, we established countrywide self-development and therapy training programs. They were massive. They did, I don't know how many, I can't even guess how many programs they did around the countryside. In 2018, the Thai Satir Transformational Systemic Therapy training program was established by one of my colleagues and myself for the purpose of developing intensive Satir therapy training for a broad spectrum of helpers and supervisors for sustainability of the Satir model in the country. Last but not least, the Satir model has become integrated not only into my work, but also into my life. The more I help people grow, the deeper I experience transformation inside. I'm now a better me, walking with the power of positive energy to greet and meet people and the world. She is considered, this is not what she has said, but let me say it. She is now considered the #1 Satir model training in Thailand. She does most of the training that I know about. She is a great teacher who teaches from the heart. And I really appreciate you, and I wish you the best. Welcome to our group.
Thank you, John. Linda.
Our next leadership award goes to Beth Nemish. She's a PhD, LCAT, RMFT, and she's from Israel. Dr. Beth Nemish is a licensed creative arts therapist, majoring in music therapy. She is a licensed marital family therapist and a body-mind psychotherapist, integrating Buddhist philosophies with Western theories. Beth is a graduate of Satir Transformational Systemic Therapy, trained with Dr. John Banman and Dr. Nitsa Brody Miller since 2006. She was drawn to Virginia's basic beliefs and the model's experiential, positive, and humanistic foundations. She is a co-founder of the Satir Institute of Galilee in Israel, an affiliate of the Satir Global Network, advocating to develop and expand the Satir model in Israel, as well as integrating arts and Satir. Dr. Beth received her PhD from Lesley University, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Her research studied the integration of the Satir model, systemic approach in music therapist work, and the integration of musical techniques in family therapy. Her publications highlight the potential and the possibilities within the integration of creative arts with family therapy. The merging of knowledge from the corresponding disciplines offers a unique, potent, experiential modality in line with the Satir model essential elements. Beth works with families, couples, individuals, and groups in private and educational centers. She provides supervision in clinical work, teaches the Satir model to arts therapists, affording them a systemic perspective. She teaches family therapists the integration of expressive arts techniques using music, movement, visual arts, phototherapy, bibliotherapy, psychodrama in their work. Dr. Beth has published several articles, and she presents in conferences, teaches, and provides workshops nationally and internationally. So congratulations, Beth, and we welcome you to the leadership group. And I personally want to express my gratitude for all that you do in this world. The next award goes to what John Banman said was affectionately we know as Pong. Pong has flown to Canada to be a small group facilitator for several programs, and we have been honored to have his wisdom and his presence and his groundedness with the work that he does. He is an associate professor, and you'll see that he's an MD. He's an associate professor in psychiatry at the Department of Psychiatry, Faculty of Medicine, Ramathabodhi Hospital, Mahidol University, Bangkok, Thailand. Jennifer just spent at least 5 days with Pong as he invited her to do the work with the psychiatrist and the people that he's with. He has extensive training in the Satir Transformational Systemic Therapy. He is a professional trainer, supervisor, and therapist in the Satir Model. He has directed training for a variety of groups and initiatives in Thailand, including those for therapists, teachers, community groups, nonprofit organizations, and corporate groups. Pong has served as the vice president of the Satir Association for Human Development and Psychotherapy since January 2022. He has strong intentions to implement Satir Model to Thai people to create the peace within, the peace between, and peace among Thai community. Additionally, he is eager to promote Satir Model to medical professionals in Thailand, particularly those working in the field of psychiatry, such as the psychiatrists, psychiatric residents, psychiatric nurses, social workers, and psychologists. He strongly believes that the Satir Model is not only useful for their patients, but medical professionals can use this model to take care of themselves. Pong and his colleagues hosted Thai Satir community group meetings via Zoom to support Thai society in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic situation. He is passionate about connecting with people who are interested in the Satir Model around the world. So congratulations, Pong, and welcome. And we're so excited that you are one of the leaders of the Satir Model.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
John.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay.
Thank-
Okay. Wang, Jason Wang from China. Jason Wang was first a lawyer, and then he became a judge, and then he became a full-time Satir Model trainer. And the story about that is worth listening to. Now he has started learning the Satir Model in 2008. He is now an approved Satir faculty member. He has established a psychological counseling company in Shenzhen in 2007 and is the general manager. In 2022, he was appointed psychology professor at the Graduate School of Tingchu. And he has published 2 books, one on parenting and the other on adolescence, both using Satir Model. He has been doing workshops, and I would like some of you trainers to hear these next 2 things. He has done workshops for 100 to 150 days each year since 2014. I would like to read that again. He has been doing workshops for 100 to 150 days each year since 2024. And he's done some counseling for over 110,000 hours. The first book, before I stopped going to China, sold 10,000 copies in the first 2 years. And I haven't heard about how successful his second book is. His workshops are very experiential. He's super duper trainer. I watched him in live and on video, and he's doing a massive, great job in China. And Jason, I welcome you and thank you and appreciate all the things that you have supported me with in the years in the past, and I hope to years to come. And welcome to the Leadership Award ceremony. I hope you are well. Thank you. I think this is mine too, right, Michael?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay. So Professor Lin, she's known as Professor Lin. Everybody talks about her as Professor Lin. She is a jewel, a real, actually jewel. She used to be the director of counseling for Capital Normal University. That's when I met her. And she brought me and Maria Gamori to China to introduce Satir to the higher learning institutions, universities. And she has this to say, and I'll try to read it to you. Okay. Professor Lin has studied and disseminated the Satir model for the last 17 years. She has published 3 papers and 3 books. She has written 3 prefaces for Dr. John Bandman's books published in China. Most of you probably don't know that. She established a national teachers Satir Model learning group with 1,500 participants. She built the public media of Teachers Satir Professional Growth Center, which regularly publishes articles on the Satir model and conducts classical video activities. She created and hosted the National Teacher Satir Model Training Program and held 250 training sessions and workshops for teachers, doctors, civil servants, and nationwide, and trained 1,200 participants. In 2021, she held a national conference on the Satir Model Family Therapy online with more than 60,000 participants, and more than 10 newspapers nationwide reported and published the Satir Model news. In 2016, she presented a workshop, some of you might remember that, in British Columbia, when we had our 2016 birthday celebration conference. But she has been presenting at other conferences as well. She also conducted professional supervision of the Satir model at universities across the country with nearly 40 sessions and 1,600 supervised counselors. During the fight against COVID-19, she was invited by the Ministry of Education to give lectures on the Satir model nationwide with an accumulated audience of 120,000 people. She organized more than 40 Satir model university experts to provide psychological assistance to the Wuhan University Center South Hospital. That is Professor Lin. Welcome.
Thank you, John. Linda.
I would like to present to you Alexandria Hao from China. She's here with us right now, actually. Alexandria Hao started her Satir model training in 2006. I met her in 2008, my first trip to China, and I have been connected with her since that time. She was a middle school psychology teacher in Beijing and part-time university student counselor at that time in 2006. She now has a master's degree in psychology from the Harbin Normal University. Currently, she is a Satir model approved counselor, supervisor, and senior faculty of Bandman Satir China Management Center. She's a certified professional psychologist with the China Psychology Association. Alexandria, with Professor Lin, that you just heard about, and Lily Wei, who just recently died of cancer, formed a partnership in 2012 to train specifically university and school counselors. It is a 3-step program. First step, 8 days. The other 2 steps are 10 days long. To date, the program has included over 4,000 students. In 2020, after the beginning of COVID-19, she became the vice president of the Bandman Satir Management Center. Alexandria wrote and produced a professional Satir meditation CD and also published a book of poems stimulated by the Satir model, and also contributed the artwork for 3 Satir model books published since 2019. Under the direction of CMC, the China Management Center, she built a nonprofit online Satir Unity Center. This is to provide free guiding meditations and different group support services during COVID-19. Alexandria had 47 volunteers and 27 Satir group leaders. They helped over 60,000 people online during the COVID pandemic. Most of her time is spent as a trainer, counselor, and supervisor. She has dedicated her life in promoting Satir Model in so many ways. Her training programs include counselor certification, level 1, level 2, empower women, self-care program, working with professional people like social workers, teachers, doctors, and nurses. So congratulations, Alexandria. I am just so grateful for the work that you're doing, promoting the Satir model and living the model. Our next person is Louis Kant, Dr. Kant from China also. He writes, I've been studying, researching, and practicing the Satir model with Satir mentors, such as Dr. John Bandman and Dr. Maria Gamori since 2005. I graduated from the first Satir model training for trainers program and became an assistant trainer for the second 5-year training for trainers program. In the past 17 years, I successfully applied the Satir model in the management of organizations and enterprises and acquired high recognition. Since 2006, I have led more than 100 workshops, including the Transformation System Professional Certificate Course Level 1. I have published more than 10 academic papers in professional journals, and in 2019, I independently completed a monograph called Satir Model Leadership, which will be published in 2023. I have a PhD in psychology, and I am a visiting professor at the Cadre Academy at Kunming University of Science and Technology. So congratulations, Dr. Kant. I, again, am grateful for the work that you continue to do in the world. Our next person is Tina. Tina from China. And she writes, I began my Satir model training in 2004. I was soon deeply attracted by the beliefs and ideas of Virginia Satir's teachings. Since then, I have embarked on the road of learning, practicing, applying, and teaching the Satir model. Since 2009, I've been working as a teaching assistant for Dr. Maria Gamori, Dr. John Bandman, and other teachers for 495 days. I use the Satir model for psychological counseling since 2008, for supervision since 2010, and for training since 2012. Using the Satir model, I have offered supervision and consulting skills training courses and a series of courses for personal growth, intimate relationships, parent-child relationship, training camp training for teenagers and children for a total of 215 days. I am an associate professor at the Nanjing Communication Institute of Technology. I am a registered psychologist and supervisor with the Chinese Psychological Society. I am an approved Satir model counselor, supervisor, trainer with the Bandman Satir China Management Center. I'm also the director of the Professional Certification Department of Bandman Satir China Management Center. I am a clinical member of the Satir Institute of the Pacific. Congratulations and welcome, Tina. John, is there anything you want to add about Tina, Kant, or Alexandria?
No, I think what they wrote or you read was very good. I'm
Great.
impressed. When I listened to it all at once, it's a very impressive resume.
Isn't it? Yes. So thank you. To you, John.
Oh, wow, look at that laugh. That's our
Sandy.
Our fun-loving Sandy. Sandy Novak. I've known Sandy for probably over 30 years and have worked with her very, very close. She's one of the people. We have, I think only 2 people in this group that ever met and worked with Virginia Satir. She is one of them. And she can't tell us about it today, but someday maybe you can hear her valuable experience and insight in the teachings of Virginia Satir. So Sandy is a therapist, psychotherapist, teacher, author, and award-winning leader in promoting the Satir model around the world. She studied directly with Satir in a month-long training in 1987 and has been teaching her work ever since. She holds a master's degree in education and a master's degree in counseling psychology and has a certificate in family therapy. She has been a senior adjunct faculty member of Naropa University, a Buddhist university in Boulder, teaching master's students counseling, and has had a psychotherapy practice for over 30 years. Sandy is a lifelong member of the Satir Global Network and a former government board member and officer. She was actually the treasurer. She was given the highest honor, the Living Treasure Award for lifetime contribution to the Satir model in 2009 by Global. She was taught Satir in Europe, North America, and Asia. She founded the Satir Institute of the Rockies, a therapist training institute in Boulder. She is a contributor to the books In Her Own Words, Virginia Satir, and in the Satir Model in Action. I hope all of you have read those two books. They're pretty good. Currently, Sandy is on the faculty of the Banman Satir Center, China Management Center, training counselors in China in the Satir model since year 2008. Her proudest professional accomplishment was the training of 260 social workers to be Satir therapists and trainers through the China Association for Social Work Education. That group, that program actually led to the Satir model being taught in social work programs across China. Many research articles being published, and the founding of the new branch of social work was called Family Social Work. I guess it just called Family Social Work. Okay, now let me tell you a little about this. We had an invitation from a Professor Shi to come and train the counselors. So they did it for 1 year, or for one session, for one whole program. I don't even know how long the program is, but a couple of years long. And then they liked it so much, they wanted a second program. So Sandy did the second program. And then there were some complaints about the university that we're only pushing Satir model. Why is this association just sold in Satir model? So they tried another model and it just flopped. So the fourth year, they came back to Sandy and said, come back and do some more. So Sandy's been doing the social work professor training program right up to COVID. And it's been great to go there every year. I think I go and visit them and see what they're doing. And they are the profs, the social work professors at, I don't know how many, 30 or so universities that are promoting and using and living the Satir model. So thank you, Sandy, for having done that work all by yourself so well. And I'm sure all of China has benefited from it. So welcome to the Leadership Award that is happening today. Oh, okay. I think that's mine too, right, Michael?
You have one more, do you not?
Yeah, that's mine. I think I have Stephen Buckby. Okay, and here's another fellow I've known for many years, right from the beginning of his first year training with Virginia Satir. When he was there for the month long, I was there as well for the month long. And so he's been around for a long, long time. And his early contribution that we didn't particularly appreciate many, many years ago was to use some of the technologies that we're now taking so for granted. He saw the light way before we even showed any interest. So he lives in Askanaba in Michigan, a little town, he tells me, in Upper Peninsula in Michigan, and is a retired teacher from the Bay Knock Community College. I may not pronounce it right. I'm licensed in the state of Michigan as a licensed master social worker and a professional counselor. I have worked with community mental health and in the field of addiction. He's also been working in jail and in hospitals, deepen my application of the power of human beings and their ability to change. I met Satir in 1985. I attended 2 of her summer institutes. In 1988, I was invited to be a trainer with Avanta, now known as the Virginia Satir Global Network. After Virginia's death, I interned with John Banman, Jane Gerber, and Maria Gamori. We 3 were the training trios at the time. I remain active as a student of Satir and her work. Currently, I'm on the board of the Virginia Satir Global Network. I'm faculty member of the Banman Satir China Management Center. My teaching partners, Mike DuPont and Dan Doyle, and I have been teaching around the world about Satir since 1988. We have taught the application of the Satir concepts in a wide variety of settings, from police departments to elementary schools. I have a long-standing interest in the use of computers in education. Currently, I'm active with several online projects attempting to bring more information to the world about the life and work of Virginia Satir. I believe what I learned in Israel in 1996 from Shamal Ron, who reminded me this: the thing that matters most in life is our ability to love. He hasn't said this, but I want to say that he is the world expert in the understanding and the application of the Satir Mandala. And he is also extremely informed about the stage and the process of change. Many of his workshops around the world use those aspects of the Satir model to help people grow, to actualize their potential, and to spread goodwill. It is with great pleasure, Stephen, that we have included you in this event. Thank you, Stephen.
Okay, so our next world leader is Lubica from the Czech Republic. Is Lubica here with us? Are you here? She writes, yeah, I thought that was you. In 1983, this is what Lubica has written for us to hear. In 1983, I completed a 5-year study of one field, psychology, with a state final exam, followed by a specialization exam in clinical psychology in 1993, and a functional specialization in systematic psychotherapy in 1998. Since 1989, I've been working as a clinical psychologist and a psychotherapist in my private clinic in Orlova, Lutny, and please forgive me for my pronunciations, Lutny, Czech Republic. I focus on the treatment of anxiety and depressions, examples, OCD, panic disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, etc. I work with people who have suffered various losses in life or traumas. I also have experienced in the treatment of functional sterility of women. I currently have about 30 to 40 born children. I work with individuals, couples, and families and use the teaching of the Satir model with my clients on a daily basis. In 1994, I first encountered Virginia Satir's teachings through Walter Zand, growth workshops, and the community. The humanity, the focus on human development, the support of his strengths, and the focus on change in the teachings of Virginia Satir appealed to me so much that I continued education in various forms, either in short-term workshops led by Walter Zand, John Bandman, Kathleen Mackey Bandman, Stephen Young, Stephen Buckme, Mike DuPont, and last but not least, Madeline DeLittle. I was also a participant in supervision seminars with and led by John Bandman. Of the long-term courses lasting continuously for at least 2 years, I would mention the supervision training led by John Bandman in the Czech Republic and Slovakia in the years 1999 and 2001, treatment of trauma after violence in families, work with loss and grief under the leadership of Kathleen Mackey Bandman. Since 2005, I've been an active member of the Virginia Satir Institute of the Czech Republic. I participated in the organization of the World Conference on the Family in 2007 as the economic director. And then in 2009, I led the IVS of the International Virginia Satir of the Czech Republic. I am a founding member of Inspiration, which was established in 2014 and is the successor organization of IVSC of the Czech Republic. Since 2001, I began to actively participate in the teachings of Virginia Satir, first as a lecturer, and from 2009 until now, I am the director of training for therapists in the Satir model, MOVISA, and the MALENOVICE1, while keeping lecturing together with my team of lecturers. To date, I have trained approximately 100 participants and approximately 15 facilitators, some of whom now work with me as lecturers. In 2012 to 2014, I was a lecturer and supervisor in the supervision training, which was organized by the IVS of the Czech Republic and the Slovak Republic under the auspices of John Bandman. 15 new supervisors were trained, all work with us to this day. In 2014, I received the Living Treasure Award at the iLearn conference in Prague. The ideas, humanity, understanding for myself and others, and personal growth in the teaching of Virginia Satir and her students greatly influenced me personally in all areas of my life. So congratulations, Lubica. And I'm so happy to have you as one of the leaders. And it's just sort of wonderful to hear about all the work that you continue to do and you've already done. So thank you. And our next world leader is Jarmila Petrovska from the Czech Republic. So hello, you're here with us. So if you haven't had a look and a smile from Jarmila, you might want to do that. PhD, so Dr. Jarmila graduated in psychology at the Faculty of Arts, MU in Brno, Czech Republic, and completed postgraduate studies in social psychology at the Faculty of Social Sciences at MU Brno. She works as a registered clinical psychologist and a registered clinical patopsychologist in her private practice. She started as an Adlerian, but then completed her training in systemic family therapy. She was introduced to the Satir model at the World Family Conference in Prague in 2007 and became more involved. She attended a family reconstruction and several shorter specialized seminars, and then completed a 2-year training in healing trauma after family violence in Bratislava, 2008 to 2010, and Satir Transformational Systemic Therapy Level 2 Intensive in Vancouver in 2011. Both were led by Kathleen Mackey Bandman. In 2015, she completed training and supervision in STST under the auspices of Dr. John Banman. She studied with Dr. Madeline DeLittle and became certified in neuroscience in the sand tray in 2019. Since 2013, she has been part of the lecturing team of the comprehensive training in STST Movisa and I'm not sure, Male Novus, directed by Lubica, which you just heard from about Lubica. She has presented on the Satir model at conferences in the Czech Republic and abroad. In 2022, she was the program director of the Satir in the Europe Conference in Bratislava. Charmile is a member of Inspiration, the Institute for STST, Czech Republic. Since 2018, she has served as its chairperson, and she is so proud to lead a team which provides education and conducts research in the Satir model and cooperates with prominent STST teachers. So congratulations, Jamila. It's so wonderful to have you as one of the world leaders. I hope that you continue to do all the work with all these people and being their teacher as they become leaders. Our next world leader is Nada from Slovakia. Nada has been passionate about STST since 1987. When she first met Virginia Satir at the World Congress on the Family in Prague. Since that time, she dedicated thousands of hours over the years for doing her detective work to find out about the human being, the behavior of the human being, the icebergs and responses as individual or couple or family member or members of the group. Currently, she has a private psychotherapy practice working with individuals, couples, families, and groups, conducting workshops, growth seminars, and psychotherapy trainings. Specifically, she is focused on families with drug-addicted children, children with hyperactivity, and people with post-traumatic disorders. Nadia's professionalism at STST was most influenced by teachers John and Kathleen Mackey-Banman, Stephen Young, Walter Zand, at whom she completed numerous trainings. Nadia is a very popular Slovak lecturer, trainer, and supervisor of the Virginia Satir Institute in the Slovak Republic. And as a member of the training team, she is leading the 4th round of accredited 4 years STST training and educates the next generation of a new therapist. Nadia processed and edited Walter Zahn's meditations, which were published at the World Satir Conference of Prague in 2007 under the title Journey to Yourself. Nadia is a member of the European Association for Psychotherapy, iLearn, the Virginia Satir Global Network, the Slovak Chamber of Psychologists and Slovak Psychotherapeutic Society, and every year she actively participates in psychotherapy congresses in Slovakia and abroad, where she spreads the teachings of Virginia Satir and thus creates opportunities for the change of individuals and groups. Since 1991, Nadia is a member of a non-for-profit organization, Children's Fund of Slovak Republic. As an employee, supervisor, and currently as the president of the Children's Fund of Slovak Republic, she has brought Satir beliefs and principles of work with individuals and with groups. In her work, she believes that the better a person is, the better therapist she can become. So welcome, Nadia. I'm so happy to have you as a world leader. It sounds like you've been doing wonderful work for many, many years. I had the pleasure of meeting Nadia when she was in Vancouver for a training. So I'm just delighted to see your face. It is with great pleasure that I want to, the Satir Institute of the Pacific would like to congratulate Rebecca Trepakova from Slovakia as being one of the world leaders in the Satir model for 2023. And I have a little reading here about Rebecca, so I'm going to share this with you. It's something that Rebecca sent to us, and this tells you a little bit about Rebecca and her life with the Satir model in the last actually 27 years. So Rebecca says that it's already 27 years since I first connected with the Virginia Satir model in the training led by Professor Walter Zahn from California. Then my professional experiences were during this time evolved through systemic training and education in the Satir model. And the following is what Rebecca contributed most to be able to lead other people in business, social, and mental health services. And that's mostly with the support of Satir teachings. So her education in the Satir model, Rebecca's education, is Saying It Straight training with Paula Englander, Golden, and David Golden in Bratislava in 1998. Thirst for Freedom training and prevention of drug and alcohol abuse in Bratislava, led by Stephen Young from Colorado and Walter Zahn from California. She also participated in Healing from Trauma, which was a 2-year training in Bratislava, which was led by Kathleen Mackey-Bandman. And Kathleen was also a supervisor from 2008 to 2009. And her long-term training, communication, intrapsychic, and interactive processes were led by Professor Walter Zahn from Chico University in California. And then in the Czechoslovakian supervision program, when Satir Transformational Systemic Therapy was led by Dr. John Bandman and Kathleen Mackey-Bandman. And that looks like that was sponsored by Virginia Satir Global Network. Also, there's long-term Satir in the Sand Tray training, which has been led by Dr. Madeline DeLittle. And as far as her professional education, Rebecca's professional education in coaching and supervision, 2007 to 2019, trained in long-term international trainings in coaching and supervision in Prague and Bratislava for 500 hours. And Rebecca is certified as a coach and a supervisor. She has many experiences, professional experiences. In 1996 to today, she's a co-founder of the Satir Institute in Slovakia and vice president. In 2020, co-founder and president of Academia STEP, which is Academia Satir Trainings and Education Professionally. She's a teacher, trainer, and supervisor in the Satir model. She's a counselor for individuals, couples, and families in Satir. And she's also a trainer and lecturer of leaders in business corporations using the Satir model. So some of her training and leadership roles in the Satir world has been director and guarantee, trainer and supervisor in 2-year, 240-hour Satir training for helping professionals, Star Basic, 7 trainings finished, 8th is starting in the spring, trainer and supervisor of 2-year, 150 hours of Satir training for leaders in the business, Star Profit in 2017-18, and 2014 to 16 Star training, 268-hour training in family therapy as training and supervisor. And under Stars, Satir International Czechoslovak training for supervisor, 2012 to 2014, which was sponsored by Dr. John Bandman, and that was for 350 hours. And then Movisa, MOVISA 2, trainer and supervisor in a 4-year accredited psychotherapy training in Czech Republic, which was a 650 hours in the Czech Republic. And also there's being a co-leader and guide of 2 family reconstructions, each for 3 days in Slovakia and Czech Republic. And also Rebecca is a member of an organizing team of Satir International Conferences in 2007 in Prague and in Bratislava in 2021 and 2022. So it's with great pleasure and such honoring of Rebecca, as she is a world leader of the Satir model. So thank you for all you do. And it's just with great gratitude that I applaud you for everything that you are and your whole beingness with the Satir model. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Anastasia Lundholm. Anastasia is a somato-respiratory integration wellness educator with 25 years experience working with the body's rhythms in growth and transformation. Her work has taken her to 17 countries in North America, Europe, South America, Australia, and Asia. She has served diverse populations in special projects, including US military veterans and children rescued from the sex trade. Anastasia has studied with the Satir Institute of the Pacific since 2005. Since then, she has been a facilitator in many STST programs and assisted in online Satir Foundation's A and B programs, Level 2 intensives, and with Kathleen Mackey-Banman at trainings in the Slovak Republic and Thailand. Her SIP advanced level trainings on integrating use of the body into the therapeutic process began in 2013. She was part of SIP's Training for Trainers program in 2017-18. Beginning in 2018, she's been part of the ongoing Satir Writing Group meeting with John Banman on the use of the body and its energy in the Satir model. Her body-centered personal growth and Satir professional development programs in China and Thailand have been well received and are continuing under the auspices of Yinghe Satir Happiness Academy, the Satir Association of Thailand, and Banman Satir China Management Center. She presented at the Thailand Satir Conference in 2021 and the Satir in Europe Conference in 2022. Anastasia also brings the Satir model to other healing facilitators in coaching and practicums designed to enhance their effective interactions with clients towards congruence and transformation. So welcome, Anastasia, and congratulations on being awarded the Satir Institute of the Pacific Leadership Award. The last but not least of our awardees today is Madeline DeLittle, PhD, RTC, MTC, RCS, CCC. Dr. Madeline DeLittle, Doctor of Philosophy, Certified Canadian Counselor, Certified Canadian Counselor Supervisor, Master Therapeutic Counselor, Registered Clinical Supervisor. Dr. Madeline DeLittle has studied the Satir model for many years and has developed an adjunct model entitled Neuroscience and the Satir Model in the Sand Tray. Madeline teaches this model to Satir Institutes around the world. Madeline has written a book which supports this work entitled Where Words Cannot Reach, Neuroscience and the Satir Model in the Sand Tray. Madeline gained her PhD from Simon Fraser University in 2017, entitled Fostering Personal Growth for Counselors Through Transformative Pedagogy and the Learning of an Experiential Play-Based Therapy. Madeline continues to see clients in Fort Langley and in remote First Nations communities in British Columbia. She specializes in early relational trauma with adults. She has a thriving counseling business, which has evolved to contract with 10 other therapists to work in her playroom spaces in Fort Langley. Madeline has been on the Satir Institute of Pacific Board for a number of years and is currently the research chair and editor of the Wisdom Box. She is also a faculty member of the Banman Satir China Management Center. She was the recipient of the 2021-22 Canadian Counseling and Psychotherapy Counselor Practitioner Award for demonstrating excellence in leadership as a practicing counselor and representing the optimal model of a caring person and professional whose knowledge, skills, and talents are valued by clients and colleagues. So welcome, Madeline, and thank you for all the work which you do around the world, and also for your work on the Satir Institute of the Pacific Board. Thank you.